right, Doodle. I'm all caffeinated now.
Wakey, wakey, Sleepy. Are you gonna do the show from your pillows, or are you gonna let me put you on the sofa? I got the cave set up, but come on. Come on. Come on, sleepyhead. There we go. Hey, Jeanette. Say hey to Jeanette. Hey, Jeanette. Hey, Jeanette. Hey, Ryan. Hey, baby. She's still half asleep. She was sleeping on her pillows. She's still half out of it. You sleepy girl. What are you doing? Why do you keep burying your face? She does this in my arm at night. She buries her face in my arm. Oh yeah, I got her tent set up. I'm not holding her face. No, she was laying on her pillows. No, I set the tent up so that she could get in it if she wants to. This is what she does. She just buries her face. I mean, I'm not holding her. She just shoved her face in my hands and went back to sleep. Rosie. I swear, this cat cracks me up. Well, apparently this is going to be the show today. Me sitting here with her face buried in my hand. Oh my God. Doodle. Oh, I didn't even change shirts. I didn't even put my Doodle shirt on, Doodle. Shit. I swear. I have no words. I do not know. Okay, here we go. I mean, I could move my hand, but she seems to be happy, apparently. Happy tail, yeah. She just... We will take what we get of the Doodle. Well, apparently this is all anybody's getting. This is what she wants to do today, apparently. I'm going to move my hand in a second. We'll see what she does. Rosie. Are you about half knocked out? Here, why don't you get up on your blanket? Do kisses? one for Jeanette, one for Ryan, one for Marilyn. I hadn't seen her yet. One for me, one for Elizabeth, one for Stephen. I hadn't seen either of them. Oh yeah, tail's getting going now. Let me get you beans. Beans? She's less than thrilled about this. Yeah, I never got a chance to add WhatsApp. I was going to do it Monday and try to contact Marilyn, but where'd you go? Are you going to jump down? Looks like. Yeah, remember I was going to try to contact Marilyn away from the chat, and I never got around to it. I won't say that I didn't have time. It's just I forgot. I about me because I had so much stuff going on Monday. By the time I got home Monday evening, I had completely forgotten about it. It dawned on me like Friday afternoon, and I was like, oh God. So, me too. Only I found out you have to have their phone number. Oh well, there we wouldn't. So there's got to be, I cannot believe social media has been around since like the early 2000 or mid 2000s. What, Facebook came around, 2008? That we could put a man on the moon 56 years ago. There has got to be a way to have a private conversation with somebody without having to put their personal information online first. We can figure this out. Did you find out anything, Rob? Yeah, Ryan, did you ever get your shirt? What is it, Doodle? You want? That perked you up. Oh, big yawn. Do you want in your tent? I'm in town tomorrow, so I'll go post office next. Okay, cool. Do you want in your tent? Or are you just gonna stare at it? It's up to you. I don't care. She's thinking about it. But I think it would require moving. I'm not sure if it would be there though without them. Where I am in UK. I might know though. It's crazy. We'll work out. Yeah, well, I'm not giving up on this. We're one way or another. We're going to get Ryan's shirt to him, and we're going to get Marilyn's shirt to her. We put a man on the moon 56 years ago. There's got to be a way to get this done. What's up, sleepyhead? Oh, I did find out. I did discover. I know she likes to play, but she seems to like to be violent too. Yeah, I'm telling on you. Yeah, I was playing with her the other day, And the rougher I played with her, of course, the rougher she got, which necessitated me to file her claws again. But, I mean, I was grabbing her head, shaking her head, and tickling her and doing all, and she was getting madder and madder, but the more irritated she got, the louder she purred. So apparently my cat enjoys violence, which is a little scary for me when it comes time to go to sleep. She enjoys violence. I get to shaking her head, she'd pop me with her paws and claws out and everything, and I could hear her from a foot away, 2 feet away, just hear. She was all kind of happy. Weren't you? Weren't you? Violent little tuxedo. Oh, pardon me. That's very rude of me. She does it all the time. It's cute when she does it. It's just rude when I do it. So, Rosie the violent CH cat. Yep, that's her. That's her. That's you. It's cute how she lets you cradle her. Yeah, until she's tired of it. Oh my God, it touched you. It's all fun and games until Rosie's paw gets touched. That's a backbeat. Get you. Wait a minute, when did, I just filed your claws yesterday, or day before. When did you ow, when did you sharpen that one again? I'll tell you, she's getting worse and worse about letting me even file her nails now. I can't cut them anymore. She goes nuts, and she's getting worse about letting me file them. I'm going to either have to start putting tips on her claws, which that's not going to go over well, or take her to the vet and let them do it. Does she enjoy you filing her claw? No, 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 no. Yeah. You don't like having your feet touched at all, do you? Ow! You bite too hard. Ow! Are you purring yet? When did you sharpen that one? Ow! That was just yesterday. Probably not, but I found out mine do like it. See, yeah. Does she enjoy it? And no, she doesn't. She hates it. I had a couple of cats that did that. It's strange how they do that. What is she like with strangers? My cat meowed really loud for some reason. She likes people. I mean, she doesn't like other animals of any kind. I think she thinks that she is a person. Like when my sister came here, she just walked right up to her and just sort of climbed up in her lap and laid there. It's like, oh, a new person. You are obligated to pet me and love on me. So she does fine with people. She doesn't, like I said, she doesn't like other animals. I don't think she thinks that she's a cat, to be honest with you. Because when I was married, we were doing cat rescues. She hated every cat we brought. Every cat we brought anywhere near her, she hated them. We had one CH that is sort of, he kind of had the mentality like, you're going to be my friend, you're going to love me, whether you like it or not, and he just sort of forced his friendship on her. I mean, she would beat him over the head and everything, and he would just keep coming. And finally, she just gave up, and he would lay down next to her, and she'd just be like, okay, fine, whatever, just lay there. I wonder if cats think that we are cats, just really strange sounding and without fur. If they think that we are cats, which that's a good theory, Ryan, they definitely think we're inferior. Whether they think that they're a part of they are superior to anything and everything in their minds. And I'm not sure that they're wrong. Aren't you, Doodle? Cats are awesome. And they're very much, I run into, I've wondered that myself. They're very unchanged throughout the course of time. There's a documentary on Netflix. It's called The Lion in My Living Room. And it talks about how, other than just size, they're very similar to the lions you'll see in Africa. And, you know, genetically, behavior-wise, they're just smaller and less aggressive because they don't have to be. But as far as their behaviors, their everything else, they're pretty much the same. Aren't you? She is really ticked off right now. Got to file her nails again. Normally I get to go like a week or so without filing her nails, but I just filed them. I think it was last night or night before? Yeah. Yeah, Jeanette's seen it. Yeah, it's great. I may watch it again sometime or other. When I get 2 minutes to be able to do stuff. So. Little panther, yeah. Yep, they are. She is. She's a little panther princess. Aren't you, Doodle? She's sleepy. Like chin scratches though. If you watch Dean Schneider, he's got I don't know if you've seen his channel, but he has a pride of lions in Africa. They like chin scratches too. Same with, there's a YouTuber, I'm sorry, there's a Facebook channel, I would imagine she's on YouTube also, but it's Brittany and Zion. Zion is I guess a Bengal tiger, and he loves chin scratches. Cats love some chin scratches. So
What do you think, Doodle? Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Little brat. The guy from Twisted Sister. D. Snyder. No, this is a guy named Dean Schneider. He's from, where's he from? He's from Switzerland, I think. But he moved to South Africa, and he's got a wildlife sanctuary, and he's got a hyena. He had a couple of cheetahs. One of them got bitten by a black mamba and died a year or so ago. He's got a pride of 5 lions. No, I'm sorry, 6 lions, 3 males and 3 females. Got a bunch of other wildlife, but it's the Hakuna Matata pride. Yeah, he's got great content, and I like the way that he lives in the lions' world, or he interacts with the lions in their world. He doesn't try to he doesn't put the lions in a cage or anything and try to make them live in his world. He follows their rules. He lives, when he interacts with them, then they're in his world, or he is in their world. So, yeah, he said that they view him as some type of a smaller, weaker, modified lion, but they still view him as part of their family, as part of the pride. But he has to follow their rules, meaning if they're not in the mood to be touched, to be petted, something like that, then he doesn't try to force himself on them and say, oh no, I want to pet you, so I'm going to pet you. If they're giving signals that they're not interested in it, then he steps away. Yeah, his it's really educational and really good content. Because he leaves them in their world, and it's like he feeds, when they get fed, they eat real dead animals. Of course, being in Africa, there's no shortage of animals. They'll find wherever they get them, whether they find dead zebras or dead giraffe or something like that, then they'll feed them those, but they only feed them like once a week or twice a week. He said because in the wild, lions will only eat maybe twice a week. They may be hungry, but their track record of being able to catch and kill something dictates that they generally only eat about every 2 or 3 days. So that's the feeding schedule that they're on, and he's got a huge piece of property that he keeps them fenced in. But I mean, it's like the biggest area that he's got several different areas. He's got like a management camp and some other thing. Then he's got one area that, if I'm remembering correctly, it's, I want to say, a couple of 100 acres. So I mean, it's not like they're fenced in, in a 2 acre, 6 lions in a 2 acre plot. It's hundreds of acres, so or more. So they roam free, and he doesn't bring them in. In the bad weather, they're outside just like they would be in the wild. Yeah, it's Dean Schneider, DeanSchneider. But yeah, he gets to interact with the lion. I mean, he's there with them when they eat, but he raised them from the time they were babies, and he, like I said, he when he interacts with it, like if he's out in the area with them, and it starts raining, starts storming, then he's part of the pride. He just stays with them. When he's got pools that they drink from, pools of water, they're concrete, but he's got, he'll drain them every now and again and clean them out and give them fresh water. But when they're, kneeled down drinking from it, then he won't drink out of it, but he'll kneel down and act like he's drinking, and that sends a signal to them that, oh, he's part of the pride. He can sit right next to them while they're eating, their food, and they don't, as long as he doesn't try to take it away from them, because just like him being a part of the pride, if another one of the lions tries to take the food from the king, then the king will smack him and claw him and growl and let him know that you're not going to do that. If he tries to do it, they'll do the same thing, but it's not that they try to kill him. So they actually see him as part of the pride. But am I a part of your pride? See, you can't even be a part of a pride because you don't like other cats. You don't like other animals. Yeah, I know. She's looking at me like, yeah, and you remember that. Don't even think about getting another one. Boop. Boop. You're a pride of one. You're a colony of one cat. They're loaf. Loaf. Right. I must have been under a rock for not watching that. Oh, it's great. I love watching his content. And then he did one, I don't know if it was a live stream or what, but there is, I want to say it's in India, there is an Indian billionaire that has developed a wildlife sanctuary, and you can't go visit it. It's not, and you can't go visit Dean's place. It's not open to the public. It's not. He is firm, and like me, he believes the same as I believe. They're not pets. They're not to be petted. They're not to, you can't go pay $5 and pet a lion and all that. But there's an Indian billionaire that has developed I don't know how many hundreds of acres it is, but he has dedicated his life to rescuing every animal he can. And he spends hundreds of millions of dollars. I can't even describe it. I watched when Dean went to visit that place, and it is absolutely amazing. It is incredible. Like where they have the lions, then they will literally not just re-landscape, but they'll change the terrain where they'll the big huge area where they have them, they'll close off part of it and re-landscape it, move, flatten this hill, put a hill over here, bring in dirt and do that, so that it looks like a whole new area to the lions, because lions are always moving around and their terrain's changing and this, that, and the other. So they'll change the entire terrain of the lion enclosure. I think they said like every 10 to 20 days or something like that. It's crazy. They'll spend tens of thousands of dollars
landscaping and doing the terrain and all that stuff, just to redo it like 2 weeks later, because that stimulates the lions, and it costs so much money. But the guy's a multi-billionaire, and he has decided this is what I'm going to spend my money on, and I think it's awesome. So, Rosie's not giving us much today. Are you, Doodle? All right. I don't know. I hadn't seen Marilyn. I hadn't seen Stephen. I hadn't seen Elizabeth. I hope Marilyn's not mad. Just like, oh yeah, she's something else. Little brat. Little brat. So, all right. Oh yeah, she's just being lazy today. She's being lazy all the time. She's being extra lazy today. Yes, I'm talking about you, Doodle. Tail, she's starting to swish that tail. She's getting irritated. She's irritable today. I think she's mad because I woke her up. If not too personal, can I ask how you went from different career paths to working for yourself? No, it's not. That's fine. So when I was a cop, then I worked night shift, and I had helped somebody do a remodel on their house, and I enjoyed it. I was like, oh wow, this is kind of fun. This is kind of cool. So I decided to start doing that on the side. Since I worked third shift at the police department, then I started doing little construction projects during the day, and it didn't take too terribly long. I decided to jump feet first into building a house. And so in 2004, I started building. And I enjoyed it. And to be honest with you, I was kind of, I say, at a certain point, I became very burned out on policing. There for a while, I was very disillusioned, because when I first started policing, when I first started the academy, or even before I started the academy, the idea of policing. Hey, Stephen. Stephen made it. The idea of policing was very attractive to me, because I had it in my head that cops were good people, and they are, and they're the vast majority of cops are good people, but they're also people. And for whatever stupid reason, I had an idea in my head that they were somehow superhuman people that were just super good, and I was excited to work alongside people who believed in living their life right, doing the right thing, just living an unsullied life. And I not only found out real quick that cops are people too, which is fine, but I also learned, unfortunately, that some of the worst criminals I ever had to deal with wore badges. And I'm not saying that as a mark against police officers, because the ones that I'm referring to when I say the worst criminals, we're talking about, 2 or 3 out of the thousands that I encountered in 11 years. But there were 2 or 3 that
that should have been in prison. Uh, and the fact that that in some cases, they not only weren't, but they were, in a couple of cases, they were protected because maybe some of the higher ups in the local government were a part of whatever criminal behavior they were involved in. So that was very much a shock to the system. And then finding out that there's, and again, this was stupid of me, young, naive. I was 25 when I started policing. But finding out that, like a lot of things, there's a lot of politics involved. And I'm not talking about politics, Democrat versus Republican, but it's more who you know, whose butt you kiss, who's cutting the deputy chief's grass, that's probably the person that's going to get promoted, stuff like that, which I've always believed in. You get ahead based on whether you're good at something or not. That you advance because of on your merits. And when people who couldn't police their way out of a paper bag would get promoted because they sucked up to this city council person or this person high up in the administration, then it, gave me even more reason to not want to continue doing that. Then on top of that, there's the pay, which is even today is absolutely atrocious for what you go through. Whether you make the argument that you've got people wanting to defund the police, you've got people that hate police, and that's, it is what it is. But when you got people like professional athletes that are making tens or hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and the likelihood of something bad happening to them is extremely low, and they're living this ultra luxury life and they're catered to and all this stuff, and then you've got people when I started policing, I was working the projects. I was getting shot at by 12-year-olds, and I was making $21,400 a year. After 11 years, I was topped out. Other than getting cost of living raises, I was not going to get any more money than what I was getting paid. And I was having to wear a gun and a bulletproof vest to go to work, and I was making $53,800 a year. There was that shooting in New York that happened this past week. The police officer that was killed was working an extra job. He was in uniform. That's how you work extra jobs. But he wasn't working for the city. He was working an extra job. And most cops have to work some form of extra job just to make ends meet. So you've got people that are, regardless of how you feel about police officers, you've got people that are that are willing to go to work with the understanding that they may never come home again, with the understanding that their wives, their husbands, their children may end up getting a folded flag. Yet they do that job day in and day out and put their life on the line, not just for total strangers, but for people that absolutely hate their guts.
I put my life in danger more times to help people that, given the opportunity, would have cut my throat, because that was my job. I can't hear bagpipes. Hearing bagpipes brings back too many memories of police funerals. I have watched cops take their very last breath on the side of the road. I have and all for less money per year than what any NBA or NFL player will spend on a set of diamond earrings. So, needless to say, I was ready for a change. And at the time, the construction business was doing much better than it, has at other times. And I just decided to, that and another business opportunity that came my way motivated me to go, okay, now's the time to turn in my badge. So I did. Walked away from it in 2007. Started policing in 96 and left in 2007. It was February 96 I started. I think it was March of 07 when I quit. So, yeah, I mean, talk about making, police making more money. I mean, I don't know if, how much, some of you may remember this, but it was January of '98, the abortion clinic bombing in Birmingham. I was a Birmingham police officer for the first 3.5 years. And Robert Sanderson, the police officer that was killed in that bombing, I won't say I knew him like we were buddies, but I had seen him at the jail a time or two. We had, he worked a different precinct, but I was familiar, I knew, of him. And well, I stood guard over his casket at the funeral home, saw the effect that it had on on his wife. But the manhunt that Eric Robert Rudolph, he's the one that did it. But I ended up taking over the extra job that Sandy worked after he got killed. But that's what he was doing at the abortion clinic. He was working an extra job to make money to provide for his family. Because working as a police officer doesn't matter where you are until you make it up into the upper echelons and you're making, close to, if not over 6 figures, then you don't make enough money to provide for a family and, have any kind of decent life. Jeanette says she remembers. I worked third shift. I had just gotten home. I can remember I had just gotten home. I sat down on the edge of my bed, was about to start taking my uniform off. This was back when I would wear my uniform back and forth. After a couple of years, I got to where I would change at the police department because I didn't want people, passing me on the road, sitting at a red light, seeing a big Birmingham police patch on my shoulder. But I'd gotten home that morning, sat down on the edge of my bed, just sort of, take a breather, and then get out of my uniform, get in bed, try to get some sleep, and all of a sudden my phone just starts blowing up, and I'm like, what? Who? My sister's calling me, my mom's calling me. I'm like, why are all these people calling? So I can't remember which one it was. I think it was one of my sisters. Picked up the phone, and they're like, oh, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't you that got killed. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I my radio was off. I didn't, when I got off work, my radio went off. I didn't, I'm not a cop. I'm going home. She's like, yeah, there was a bombing at a business downtown and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? So I turn on the radio and I hear all the radio traffic. I'm like, holy crap. So I called the precinct. One of my buddies answered the phone. I'm like, hey, what happened? And they told me, and I was like, oh, Jesus. So, that's kind of what happened. That's the kind of thing that happens. Like I said, I've been on the scene. I've seen officers die. I've seen them take their last. Saw one officer take his last breath on the side of the interstate after he was intentionally hit by a drunk driver that hates cops. There were 3 officers that were killed in June of '04 in Birmingham, 3 of them all at the same time, serving a misdemeanor warrant at a dope house in a part of Birmingham called Inslee. One of the officers, again, I didn't know him personally, but I had seen him, I had talked to him. He was very well known in the police department because at the time he had been a cop for like almost 30 years. He was actually getting ready to retire. But he was my best friend's training officer. So particularly through my friend, I knew of him very much. But then I'd also seen him and talked to him a couple of times. But him and 2 other officers got killed serving a misdemeanor warrant at a dope house. So, so you just, there were plenty of guys guys and females, guys and men and women that I worked with that wanted so badly to quit policing and go do something else. But unfortunately, like a lot of them, they, I had one guy tell me when I was getting ready to leave and go do construction, that he told me, he said, man, I wish I could quit and go do something. His exact words were, I don't know how to do anything else. I'm stuck. When I moved out here to Texas, ran across a couple of cops in Pasadena, and I just struck up a conversation with them. And of course, they do what cops do. They put on this, not putting on a front as in being something fake, but they project that police image. They're like, oh yeah, I said, I can't remember what I said. Something, how long y'all been doing it? Or, do you enjoy your job? Like, oh yeah, policing is in, blah 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 blah. I can't, what I wanted to do growing up. And then once I told them that I can remember, I was talking to 2 Pasadena cops sitting in a CC's Pizza in Pasadena, and I mentioned to them, I said, I was a cop in Birmingham, Alabama for 11 years and quit and blah blah blah. And as soon as I told them that, their attitude changed, their demeanor changed. They were like, how's it going? Do you, when you left, it was, how you able to work? It was almost like they were picking my brain, like, how can I do that? How can I take this damn uniform off, take this vest off, and do something, where my wife doesn't have to worry about whether or not I make it home. So, and then you got people, because they can throw a ball, they can catch a ball, they can dribble a ball, they, whatever, they will be rewarded with hundreds of millions of dollars and spend as much on a car as more than a police officer will make in his entire career. And that athlete will not one single time have to go to work
worrying about if somebody's gonna kill them. And that's a thought that every police officer thinks about every time they go to work. And I'm not trying to take anything away from the athletes who have dedicated themselves to their sport and have put in the years of practice and exercise, and I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but no offense to any of them, if they just decided if every athlete just decided, I'm not doing this anymore, and the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, if all of those went away tomorrow, unless you work for those organizations, your life is not going to change. You're still going to go to work. You're still going to pay your bills. Nothing's going to change. Let every cop go away and watch what happens. Yet society demonizes the police officers and rewards somebody because they can catch, throw, or dribble. With Floyd Mayweather Jr., when he fought Conor McGregor. And again, not to take anything away from these athletes, they are the tip of the spear in their chosen sport, and they should be rewarded. But when Floyd Mayweather Jr. makes $300 million for one fight, and you have police officers who put their life on the line every single day, and let's say they average today $70,000 a year for 20 years, they're going to make $1.4 million over the course of 20 years, where Floyd Mayweather made $300 million in one night. Now I know that people will say, oh, well, he spent years building up to that point, and da-da-da. Okay, he made hundreds of millions of dollars before that. But walking into that ring with Conor McGregor for that one night, he walked away with a paycheck that was over $300 million. And he didn't have to put on a vest. He didn't have to strap on a gun. None of that. So, sorry, Ryan, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but it's, that's why. I mean, I'm very proud of the service that I gave, and I can tell you right now, any cop that says that they don't get scared, they're either lying or they're crazy. They're either BSing you, or they have something wrong with their brain that does not register fear. Because I can tell you right now, there were times where I felt terror that I had never felt before, and hope to God I never feel again. But that never stopped me from doing my job. As scared as I was at certain times, it never stopped me from doing the job that I had sworn an oath to take or to do. And in a lot of cases, if you use fear, then it can be a great benefit to you. Fear can do one of two things: either you can control it, or it can control you. Fear, for whatever you choose to do with it, can focus you on the task at hand in a way that nothing else can. Now, you hear about mothers lifting cars off of their children. Get that woman to lift a car just on an average Wednesday afternoon, not going to happen. The fear that she's feeling for her child that's underneath that car, her muscles become stronger than they will ever be. Same thing,
getting in a hot situation, if, you know, if I end up having, you know, find myself in some type of situation where I'm having to draw down and God forbid take a shot, fear will focus my vision, focus my hearing, focus every sense that I have better than it will be, again, on an average Wednesday. You know, if I'm, you know, it'll make me stronger when and how I need to be stronger. Am I in a fight with somebody? I'm trying to get control of them. Maybe they're trying to go for my gun. You know, whatever the case may be, fear is going to make me stronger in that moment than I am on an average Wednesday. Do I need to run to take cover? My legs will become faster than they ever will be on an average Wednesday. I remember a guy started shooting at me in an area of Inglenook, or in an area of Birmingham called Inglenook. It was right at the end of the shift, and I got a call. I had just gone what we call going south, going to the south side of Birmingham you had the jail and the magistrate's office right next to each other. So if we were taking somebody to jail, then we'd get on the radio and say, you know, 222, hold me out going south of one, meaning we're going to the south side of Birmingham. Or we were going to turn in our tickets, to square to our tickets. You know, we had to turn our tickets in every shift or every couple of shifts, take them, fill out your transmittal form, take them to the magistrate's office, you know, and you have to swear to them, you know, magistrate, you know, I'll be right. Do you swear to affirm the information? Yeah, I do. Well, I had just gone what we call 1045. Tell dispatcher, you know, 222, hold me out 1045, meaning I'm going to turn my tickets in. So I went 1045. I worked East Precinct, so I'm on south side. I'm on the other side of Birmingham. Get a burglar, get a 911 call, 911 hang-up call from a house on my beat. So they give it to another officer because I was out of service turning in my tickets. And one thing, the good officers, so to speak, don't like is dropping calls on another officer, meaning you're not taking care of your beat, other officers are having to come work your beat and answer your calls and all stuff. That's really frowned upon. So I'm just getting back in my car at the magistrate's office, and I hear this signal 7, which was a 911 hang-up call. They gave a signal 7 to somebody else, you know, on my beat. So, and it's right at the end of the shift. And Birmingham, it was not uncommon to get off late because there's always something happening, something going on. And so I hear this. I'm just getting in my car. I get on the radio. I was working 224 that night. I was like, you know, 224, that's mine. I'll take it. You know, I'm heading that way from the magistrate's office. Temple, they canceled the other officer. And I'm sitting there thinking, hey, this is right at the end of the shift. This is my ride out. I'm going to ride this out to the end of the shift. I'm not going to get some late call on somebody else's shift or on somebody else's beat. And, you know, this is going to be great. I'll get off on time. I roll up to the house, and 9 times out of 10, it's somebody's kid playing on the phone or somebody meant to call 411. You know, back then, you know, it was 411, call for information, but they had dialed 911 and you go, oh crap, and hang up the phone. And, you know, so I'm going to go knock on the door, tell people, hey, you know, little kid, you know, everybody okay? You think your kid might be playing on the phone, but y'all have a good night. And then I'm going to stay out on the call, go back to the precinct, wait on night shift to come down from roll call, because I was working 3 to 11 then. Wait on night shift to come down from roll call, turn the keys over to them, then get back in service, and now 224 night has it. And I don't have to worry about getting a shooting call or something like that. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I would be. There was one night I was on my way to the precinct, about 5 till 11. A call goes out of a woman that was, you know what, a couple of guys had attacked her in her backyard and bad things had happened. It was on another officer's beat, so I'm not far from it. I was gonna get there, hold the scene till he got there. I got there. She was distraught, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is I got there before he did. And he's like, well, you got there first, you got it. He went and made relief, and instead of getting off at 11 o'clock, I got off at 6 o'clock the next morning. Because I ended up having to take the victim to the hospital and all that stuff. So anyway, that's what I was going to do. I was going to ride this Signal 7, this 911 hang-up call out until I made relief. Cool. I roll up to the house, 224 on 1023, walk across the yard, walk up the stairs, because the front door was about 10 feet off the ground, because they had a basement. Front door, go up the stairs, and there's the stoop front door. I make it up to the front stoop, and I'm just about to knock on the door, the chill out call. Hey man, tell your kids quit hanging, quit playing on the phone, blah, blah. About the time I'm about to knock on the door, old boy starts shooting at me from inside the house. Oh damn! I dove off, I wasn't even thinking, I dove off the porch, 10 feet up in the air. In midair, I see this big oak tree out in the front yard, and before I even hit the ground, I'm like, you're my best friend. I hit the ground like a sack of potatoes and ran. I don't know what all I heard, but it didn't hurt them. I ran and got me some cover behind that tree, got on the radio, called for backup, shots fired, blah, 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 blah. Well, I could have just sat there and waited on, because backup was coming. I mean, everything was, I don't know if I don't think they put a double aught on me. They put a 1033 on me, which meant that every car in the precinct and every car in the next precinct over was coming. I could have and probably should have stayed behind that tree, just keeping cover. But it was in my head, this guy's probably going to run out the back door. He's going to shot at me from inside the house. He's probably going to run out the back door. So I come out from behind cover. I got my gun. I'm keeping an eye on the house. I'm keeping distance. I'm doing everything. I'm watching the back corner. I'm watching the front. I'm waiting to see where the fire is going to come from next. I'm like, now here I am out in the middle of the yard. And I was terrified. Honest to God, probably should have peed myself. But I knew I had a job to do. And, and then afterwards, it was the two of the task force officers, they were the first ones to arrive. And of course, they pretty well reamed me out and said that I should have stayed behind cover until backup got there. And I'm like, yeah, well, sometimes apparently Scotty ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer. So, but anyway, all that to say, at the time, I think I was making, when that happened, I think I was making $26,000 a year, $27,000, something like that. So yeah, I used to drive around and I would see people, whether it's a house or an apartment or whatever the case may be. And there's cars in the driveway, and there's lights on and all that stuff. And it used to dawn on me, I'm like, you know what? These people manage to pay their bills. They pay their rent, they pay their mortgage, they pay their car note, they pay their power bill. They manage to pay their bills without having to strap on a vest and a gun to go to work wondering whether or not they're going to come home. And another side of it, this was something that I stumbled across. This was my first wife had written a poem that I didn't even know about. I stumbled across it in the computer one time, and it was called The Other Side of the Siren. And I read it, and it was heartbreaking because at a certain point we lived. This was after I had left Birmingham and gone to one of the smaller outlying suburbs, which was very nice. I got paid more. It was a whole lot less violent. There was a lot of rich people lived there, so I mean, it was kind of roll the sidewalks up at night and all this stuff, but it still, was policing. You still had to wear a gun and a vest to go to work. Well, so we lived in the area that I policed. So she wrote this poem, and I can't remember how it goes. I may have it somewhere in an old flash drive or something, but the gist of it is, when most people hear a siren at night, You know, they're laying in bed, they're sleeping, they hear a siren. Most people generally feel good. The police are out there. They're doing their job. My community's safe. I feel safe in my bed. For her, when she heard a siren at night, then she couldn't go back to sleep because now she's wondering, is that siren my husband going on his last call? Is that siren one of his buddies going to a scene where he may have already been killed? And she would not be able to go back to sleep until she heard from me. Because all she had to do was hear a siren at 2 o'clock in the morning. Is my husband dead or alive? That's not something that most people have to think about. That's not something that most people have to worry about. So it affects more than just the cops. I can remember it also makes you antisocial to a great degree. For people that say that it doesn't affect them, they're lying. You know, how it affects you. I mean, you know, some people are more affected by it than others, but it does, the things that I experience and the things that happen to me, don't bother me as far, you know, mentally, but particularly when I was policing, there were times my wife and my daughter would want to, you know, go to a movie, you know, let's go out to eat. And, you know, my wife would be almost down on her knees begging me, please take us to a movie, please take us out to eat. And I would tell them, no, I deal with the public 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. This is my off day. I'm inside my little safety zone, my little castle. I don't want to deal with these people. I started saying damn people, but you know, whatever. I don't want to deal with these damn people. Y'all want to go to a movie? Go. You got a debit card, here's money, here's whatever. Go have dinner, go. But I am not going out that door until I got to go to work again. So not fair on the family. It's a rough job. Not just what you have to do, but it's a rough job. And you know, again, it does not sit well with me that you have people that just because they can catch, throw, or dribble a ball, more and more. You know, I remember when Alex Rodriguez got it was back in I think it was the early 2000s. I think it was $100 million contract, and that was the biggest contract of any sports figure ever at the time. And people were just amazed that Alex Rodriguez got this, $100 million contract, this, 9-figure contract. Now, $100 million contracts, they give them out like bags of chips. I mean, there was some dude just recently got a $250 million contract, and it was like I think Alex Rodriguez, it was like $100 million over 7 years or 10 years. This dude got, I want to say it was like $250 million over 5 years. And that's his pay for the job. That and what they make on endorsements is always, or generally, more than what their contract for the team is. I'm not begrudging anybody making money. I mean, hell, I want to make money. But when society rewards, somebody that if their entire sport went away, the world's not going to notice. Yet they get those kind of rewards. It sickens me. I mean, and then who is it that? What do cops do? If you do go out of your house on your off days, cops take their family to what? Ball games. So this cop that's making $60,000 a year and having to work 2 or 3 extra jobs just to make ends meet, maybe once every 2 months takes his family to a ball game, but he's got to pay, you know, $80, $100, $150 per ticket just to get in. $12, $15 for a beer, $10 for a crappy hot dog. Why? So that the sports stars can get their $250 million contracts. If people would stop going to the games and stop watching, then guess what? They quit paying these people the amount of money they're paying. I got no problem with people paying, you know, making $2 or $3 million a year. More power to you. But I think cops need to be making $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year at least. You know, I'm not talking about cops should be able to be making, you know, starting out at $100,000. No, cops need to be. If you're strapping on a gun and a vest, and there's a likelihood that your family may never see you again, you need to be getting at least $250 a year. And anybody that don't like hearing that, I don't care. Ryan says it's the same with soccer players too in Europe. Yeah. But as long as people keep watching, that ad revenue is going to go through the roof, and that's going to be in demand. As long as people keep, you know, taking from their kids' college fund so they can go, you know, take 10 of their friends to a professional ball game and drop $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 to watch a bunch of millionaires run up and down the field or up and down the court, then they're going to keep doing it. I honest to God, I mean, you know, trust me. If every cop in the country, let every cop in the country get the blue flu. For those of you who don't know what the blue flu is, the blue flu is when cops call in sick when they're not sick. But just like a lot of jobs, when you call in sick, you can't tell somebody you can't be sick. It's like, you know, if we were only allowed to have 4 people off on a certain day, and I went to my sergeant and said, hey, can I take off tomorrow? No, books are full. 4 people are already off. All right, well, if I call tomorrow and go, they can't tell me I can't be sick. So if every cop in the country, let every cop in the country go for about 3 days in a row, first of all, be prepared, because society is going to collapse. But let every cop go for about 2 or 3 days, and people will find out exactly how badly they're needed. All this defund garbage will go away like that. There'll still be people calling for them to be defunded, but the people that aren't calling for them to be defunded will grow a pair and start telling those people, sit down and shut up. Yeah, something isn't right with paying someone to bounce a ball and then you pay someone less that puts their life on the line. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic when I say that, but it's true. It is a fact that, I mean, you know, I'm sorry, I've never seen an NBA or an NFL player, you know, running up and down the field or the court wearing a bulletproof vest and a gun. So there you go, Ryan. Ryan's probably about 3 shots of tequila into this going, good God, Scott. All I want to know is what motivated you to quit, and now I'm depressed and scared. But yeah, that's my 2 cents worth. Or that's actually my probably 74 cents worth, because I took the ball and ran with it. I took the ball and ran with it. Somebody used to pay me $100 million. Well, thank you, Ryan. Thank you. But no, I mean, there's other negatives to it. Like I said, I mean, you know, some of the worst criminals I ever, you know, like, I mean, there's criminals on the street that'll cut your throat for $1. I mean, I had guys that I worked side by side with that I don't want to get into specifics, but let me just say there were, how can I put this? There were cops that were probably more skilled at running dope than the dopers we dealt with. I'll say that. You know, it's not that there was widespread corruption and criminality within the police department. It wasn't widespread. It was very limited to a small handful of people. Unfortunately, it wasn't, the corruption was out of, I mean, for those people, it wasn't that they were just, you know, give me $10 and I won't write you this ticket kind of thing. It wasn't just a little bit of graft. It was a little bit of corruption. No, I mean, we're talking about full-on dopers, you know, and I'm not talking about dopers and smoke. I'm talking about, you know, moving quantity, you know, and using their official position to do it. So, you know, there were certain dopers that we were not allowed to try to make cases on because they might have been related to somebody high up in the department. And if, God forbid, you try to make a case on them, boom, you're going to find yourself transferred to some hellhole. So, but yeah. I will say this: I quit having cop dreams. It took probably 6 or 7 years. I don't know. I think everybody's kind of had the dream where it's like you're being chased by somebody, and you're trying to run as hard as you can, but it's like your legs are in mud. You know, you're trying so hard to run, but maybe your legs are moving really super fast, but you're only moving at a snail's pace. But the person that's chasing you, they're just walking, but they're moving 100 miles an hour. You know, that's from what I understand, that's a common dream. You know, I don't know what it's, you know, what it says about somebody's, you know, thought process. Well, when I started policing, then I used to have those dreams, but then once I started policing, it shifted and became cop dreams. And most cops have these dreams. And that's where in the dream, you find yourself in a shooting, you know, generally in some type of shooting situation. And in your dream, you squeeze the trigger and either the gun goes off and the bullet just falls out the end of the gun, or you pull the trigger, the gun fires, but all your bullets just sit there and bounce off the bad guy, and he keeps coming at you with his knife or his gun or whatever. Or you squeeze the trigger, and just before the gun goes off, it just stops, and for as hard, you're trying so hard, the guy's coming, as hard as you're trying, you can't pull the trigger that last just millimeter that will let the hammer fall, the gun go off and save it, but you can't. That's a cop dream. I used to have those 4 or 5 nights a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a night. And when I would have them at that moment, right before the bad guy killed me, I would wake up quickly. I mean, I would shoot up in bed out of breath, sweating. My wife would, you know, kind of reach over and go, hey, 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 you're okay, you're okay. Like I said, that was 4 or 5 nights a week, sometimes 7 nights a week, and sometimes 2 or 3 times a night. I mean, it was. I mean, you wake up just. I guess that's what people would consider night terrors. You wake up just absolutely terrified. I mean, I would be sweating like I just ran a marathon, breathing heavy like I just. I mean, like I just sprinted a marathon. And it would take kind of a second to, kind of get, okay, whoa, okay. All right, there was a drink. And, like I said, my wife, she'd be like, hey, settle down, you're okay. That started easing off, to where I can't remember. I quit policing. It's been 18 and a half years. I probably hadn't had a cop dream in, I probably have 1 or 2 a year now, but it probably took 4 years for me to get to that point. For the first year or 2, I still had them, 3 or 4 times a week. I mean, it was, but it finally started waning, and where, like I said, I think I probably hadn't had one. I probably have, like I said, 1 or 2 a year. But it's, that's part of the price you pay for doing that. There's a lot that people don't understand, that people don't realize. People think, like I used to think, that cops were just, kind of robots that you take out of a locker and put the uniform on and send them out to do their job, and nothing affects them, and at the end of their shift you turn their switch off and stick them back in the locker, and that's it. And it's not. I mean, I remember I almost got fired. It was like my 2nd or 3rd day out of the academy, because it was the first homicide that I ended up going on. I wasn't the primary unit, the primary officer. The primary officer was a girl that was in my class and her training officer. Me and my training officer got sent just to secure the scene while they did what they had to do. But the crime was, it was a guy that had beat his 2-year-old nephew to death. And the mom and the rest of the family are out in the front yard while the medics are working on this 2-year-old. The mom, 18 years old, is out in the front yard just laughing and cutting up with the family like nothing happened. And needless to say, that didn't sit too well with me. So I kind of went after the family. I kind of lunged at them, and my training officer grabbed me and said, "We can't do stuff like that. You're a cop. You can't do stuff like that." And my sergeant came and told both of us. He told my training officer, like, "Tell you what, why don't y'all go back to y'all's beat? I'll get somebody else to come secure the scene." So, yeah, 3 days out of the academy, and here I'm having to secure the scene for a 2-year-old that had been beat to death. So, like I said, there's a lot that people are quick to hate cops, but I've been in situations that I could have not made it through because I was protecting people that I don't even know. Just because it was my job. Must have a subconscious impact on you too. Yeah, I mean, I guess it does. I mean, I've got I'm not shaken by much, thank God, but there are people that are, and there are people that are not cut out for that job, and that's nothing against them. The thing, particularly, depending on where you police, you're going to see a lot of stuff. It's like when I left Birmingham and went to that small suburb, there was a guy that was getting ready to retire with 25 years, and in that 25 years, the entire city in that 25 years had experienced, I think, 2 homicides, and one of them was not even a homicide, it was a suicide. There was just some question in the beginning as to whether or not it was a homicide or a suicide. So that was, this guy had been around 2 homicides in 25 years. Well, I worked 4 the week before I left Birmingham. So, you see a lot. Stephen, so how's the truck? Stephen's like, let's change the subject because I'm about to start day drinking. Good call, Stephen. Janessa, I don't believe I've ever had so many emotions in one day than I have had today. I don't know how the police handle these things. I cannot. That's what I was saying. I mean, there's some people that don't. There's some people that come out of the academy, and there was one person that was in my academy class that worked one shift, turned in their badge next morning, said I can't do it. Oh, hell no. So I'm done. Ain't no way. So to Stephen's point, the truck is good-ish. Still have a little bit of vibration in it. I think it's somewhere in the drive line. I don't know if it's the transmission, the drive shaft, or the rear end. But in the course of looking, I am losing a little bit of transmission fluid out the rear of the transmission where the drive shaft goes in. So I've got to get that put in the shop to be looked at. But since I got my schedule all screwed up, then I'm actually on 2 jobs at the same time. So I'm either going to have to rent a vehicle or just try to nurse mine through for the next probably 3 weeks and then put it in the shop. But it's better-ish, Stephen, but it's still, that vibration that I was feeling before at about 65, 67 miles an hour after it came out of the shop the last time, now I'm feeling that, I was feeling that vibration at about 75, but over time, that has backed up. Now I'm feeling the vibration at about 72. The other day I felt it at 70. So something is progressing to where that vibration is slowly coming back and showing us. It's not as bad, but it's showing itself a little bit earlier. So transmission seal leaks are not good. Yeah, I know. So far, the only place is, okay, so right at the tail of the transmission where the drive shaft goes in, where the spline goes into the back of the transmission, that's where it's leaking. When I say it's leaking, if I crawl under it there and I wipe my finger on it, then it comes off wet. And on the underside of the truck above the drive shaft, you can see where as it spins, it slings transmission fluid. It's coming out, and the centrifugal force is slinging it up onto the underside of the truck, and of course, probably, I'm sure, and on the road. When I park it, I can park it and I don't lose a drop. So it's obviously only when it's spinning and when it's under pressure. I just checked the transmission fluid a while ago, ran it about 15 miles, came back, ran through all the gear, sitting still, just ran it through all the gears on the gear shift, and then put it in neutral, and it's running, and it's showing the proper amount of transmission fluid. So I'm going to check it either once a day or once every other day, and also keep an eye on that leak, and if it becomes necessary, put it in the shop and rent some kind of vehicle. But if I can get these 2 jobs knocked out that I have accidentally scheduled at the same time, if I can get these 2 jobs should be knocked out in the next 3 to 4 weeks. If I can nurse this thing along 3 to 4 more weeks, please, little truck, knock on wood, then I'll put it back in. I already called the shop, told them I was gonna be bringing in first chance I get, so we'll see. But thank you for asking. So. Well, there we go. Hopefully it won't cost too much money. And of course, I'm still melting because I'm not gonna spend $4,000 to get the air conditioner fixed. So. The more and more I put into it, I'm really, in retrospect, the amount of money I've spent on it, I'm really, really, really wishing I would have just, for $1,000, thrown a drive shaft back in it, taken it somewhere and traded it in, even if they gave me $500 for it, taking it somewhere, traded it in, put a down payment on down, and got another truck. But I haven't. So it's like I told somebody the other day, I've got so much money tied up in the repair. If I had tied this much money up in the repairs 3 years ago, and I'd been able to get my money out of it, and as far as the use of the truck, then that would be one thing. But I just in the last couple of months have sunk thousands of dollars in the truck. You know, it's kind of one of those things where I've got so much in it that I kind of can't afford to get rid of it right now. So I'm kind of stuck. So furry donut behind you, furry bagel. Yeah, I'm almost tempted to pet her, but I'm not. I'm gonna let the baby sleep. She's buried. Remember how she had her face buried in my hand? Let me grab the phone. She's doing that to herself right now. See if I can do this without waking her up. For whatever reason, she likes to bury her face when she sleeps. Like I said, she does that to my arm. She'll curl up next to me at night and bury her face in my arm. Little brat. Where are we at? Are we even? Are we level? Yes, no. Yeah, I hate to bother her, especially her being CH. Like if I were to reach and touch her right now, she'll do her little trill, but she'll raise her head up, but then she gets kind of, out of balance, and she'll kind of flop around for a second. So, all right. Well, I apologize for going on my little rant, but there are certain subjects that I feel strongly about, and that's one of them. Especially since I did it for 11 years, so I have extreme firsthand knowledge of what it's like. So there you go. There you go. Everybody got a little insight into the world of policing. So. But, all right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here. And I've got to come up, I want to come up with something. Maybe, I got to come up with some kind of activity for her. I'll try to come up with something for next week. So, but we did kisses, and Stephen, she got a kiss for you too. So, and for Elizabeth and for Marilyn. I hadn't seen Marilyn today. I hope she's okay. So. Oh, you're welcome, Ryan. Like I said, I mean, I don't mind talking about it. And, you know, like I said, there are certain subjects that I feel strongly about, that I'm very passionate about, and unfortunately, I'm the kind of person that once I get going, you gotta kind of do what Stephen did and kind of get me off, you know, off on another topic. Otherwise, I'll rant forever. Things that'll live. You ever find something you like listening to your life stories? Well, thank you. I'm glad. Well, good. Okay, Elizabeth is here. Awesome. So, hello, Miss Elizabeth. So she got kisses early. We did kisses earlier because she was sleeping on her pillows, and I picked her up and she fell asleep with her face in my hand, and we just did kisses from there. So, but she got kisses for you and Elizabeth and Marilyn. So. Well, yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We'll leave everything up. Let everybody say their toodles to everybody, like I always do. And in the meantime, other than that, everybody have a good, safe, productive, happy week, and we will reconvene, as the old saying goes, same bat time, same bat channel next week. In the meantime, I guess we'll see if Marilyn makes it next week, because I mean, there's no way of getting in touch with her. So we'll see what happens next week. So hopefully she's okay. I hope everything's all right. So, but anyway, well, I'm gonna take off. We'll get out of here. Let y'all have y'all Sunday afternoon back, and I will see y'all next week. I can feel the doodle sending her toodles to everybody in her sleep. So, all right, I will see y'all next week. Y'all have a good week. Toodles, everybody.